In this march of progress, the needs of the community are well served and safeguarded by the town's own police force, whose members are here seen moving out of their old headquarters into premises more worthy of the important role they have to play in a modern society. The new police headquarter building is one of the key units in a bold imaginative programme which will provide a whole series of new public service buildings in a civic centre development project. It is from this ever-alert nerve centre that calls for assistance are answered. The speed of this help is hastened by the fact that the sister fire and ambulance services are housed in one of the most modern fire stations in the country. Strict discipline and attention to detail is the order of the day to both man and machine. In the control room, the panel is one of the most up-to-date in England today.
Barnsley Fire Brigade. Which number?
Control calling. Warehouse fire, Summer Lane, Barnsley. Warehouse fire, Summer Lane, Barnsley. Warehouse fire, Summer Lane, Barnsley. Warehouse fire.
Within seconds of the alert being received, the emergency service vehicles, whether an ambulance or fire tender, are manned and on their way. Within minutes they can be on the spot of any accident or fire incident occurring anywhere within the boundary of the town. Completing the circle of community care is the town's hospital service, which ranges from this general hospital, which bears the name of its founder, to this modern haven for the aged sick, which has risen like the phoenix on the site of a much older hospital. And on the drawing boards are plans for a new £9 million hospital. But what really makes this town of ours tick? The answer is coal. Coal and its byproducts. It is from the impurities left from coal after treating for coke, which mainly include coal tar, light oil and ammonia, are derived dyes, explosives, perfumes, antiseptic, plastic and man-made textiles. It is true that the changeover from a purely agricultural to an industrial community began with the manufacture of wire about the 16th century and was followed by the introduction of linen making in the middle of the 17th century. But there is little doubt that Barnsley owes special thanks for her prosperity in the 20th century to the presence of the rich coal-bearing seams beneath her boundaries. Before this date, it is feasible that our ancestors, while aware of the presence of the mineral, made no great effort to work it because they had a plentiful supply of wood near at hand, and which was easily obtained. Today, Barnsley is the centre of the Yorkshire coalfield, which has the biggest potential in the country, and which provides employment for nearly half of the male population in the locality. This prosperity has not been gained without a price paid in the lives of men who toil in the bowels of the earth, with death and danger as their constant companions. Let us freely admit that the miner's job is a grim one, but let us also agree that the very nature of his calling has helped to mould within the character of the Barnsley miner those saving attributes of grit and gumption and greatness. No wonder that the figure of a miner with pick in hand is given prominence on the coat of arms of the county borough. His companion figure is the glass blower. The place he has earned for his trade is second only in importance to the mining industry in Barnsley. Glass manufacture may have been practiced in Egypt as early as 3300 BC, but here the development only started in the early 1800s with the production of bottles and pickle jars. Today almost every size and shape is produced. You take a giant-sized pinch of some silicates, add the right proportions of lead potassium carbonate, mix them with selected metal oxides according to knowledge gained from generations, and then place the mixture in the biggest and hottest oven ever seen outside any kitchen. In the control room, careful observations must be made to maintain correct temperatures to the molten glass. This dial reads over 1200 degrees centigrade, the temperature required. And there you have the molten mass, which almost magically, well with the aid of machines, becomes a bottle. The fully automatic multi-mold machines, which work alongside the semi-automatic forming machines, turn out thousands of bottles every hour. Here at just one of the 3 major glass firms in the town, containers of special design or handmade to obtain the high quality demanded by the best known houses in the perfumery and cosmetic trades. The machine has not yet been made, however, which can combine the skill and dexterity and know-how which is required in the shaping of the intricate patterns of glass tubing made to the special order of science and medicine. Here the hands of the humans are still the indispensable instrument of a trade whose products are in demand throughout the world. Another local industry which lists most of the countries of the world on its order book is that of loom making. Proud craftsmen still mould and shape the many pieces which go into the complicated process of ensuring that the warp and weft work in sweet harmony when the looms come out of the assembly shop. Tradition and craftsmanship go hand in hand in the production of these looms, and it is well worth noting that, as they make their way to all parts of the world, they are accompanied by engineers and fitters, who are charged with ensuring that the customer is fully satisfied with his investment in the engineering skill of one section of the working population of Barnsley. It is not just sufficient to see that all the parts click together. So, before each machine leaves the works, it has to undergo an exhaustive series of tests. These include a close look at its performance under normal production conditions. The shuttles fly, and according to the loom of your choice, the end product could be a length of toweling, or a drape of velvet, or a measure of dress, or curtain material, or even a section of carpeting woven up to 18 feet in width. The export business is nothing new to this firm, which was born way back in 1850. In the early days, Barnsley was the centre of the linen industry in this country, and linen and damask looms were the firm's main product. Within 10 years, the company was celebrating its first large export order, with all hands working day and night to complete a range of machinery and looms for Finland. Further orders followed. Business prospered. Today, the products of this expanding company are being dispatched to all parts of the world. Supplying the power units which keep many wheels turning around the globe is the local unit of a firm of electrical motor manufacturers. This is just one of the variety of industries which have been introduced to the area in the post-war years as part of the local priority policy of providing employment opportunities of a non-mining character for the menfolk and for more than adequate reservoir of women and girls seeking work. Here at this modern factory, the nimble fingers of the girls are ideally suited to that branch of electrical engineering of which the end product, after a variety of processes, is the electric motor. Copper wire covered with heavy durable coating of synthetic resin is used in motor winding, and it is these machines which preform the wire into sets of coils with a predetermined number of turns in each coil relative to the type and power of the motor. To provide adequate insulation, the stator slots are lined with insulating board. Next, the coils go into the stator slots in a certain order depending on the required speed of the finished product. Wire ends are securely bound to make a strong, neat finish. The end of the line is now nearly in sight, but ahead lay further exhaustive tests. The tests completed, the stators are conveyed through a tank of insulating varnish and are then passed on so that the rotor and stator, together with the bearings and end plates, are finally assembled. Yes, it is true that the town would be hard hit if she lost her coal. But even without it, today Barnsley would survive with the help of such industrial units which carry the trademark of the town throughout the world. But one must not be misled by the picture we have so far painted in tones of black and grey of a town in its working clothes. For when it comes to putting on her best clothes, she can compare in beauty with the best. The smoke, grime, dust and dirt of the workaday world can soon be forgotten by a visit to the Lock Park. This 40 acres of greenery was opened in 1862 as a memorial to the famous engineer Joseph Locke, whose name is linked with many engineering feats at home and abroad, while the tower which dominates the horizon was built to the memory of his wife. An acquisition on behalf of the townspeople of much later date was the country house and parkland of Cannon Hall. The house, now an art gallery and a museum, and the park and its waters are a popular rendezvous for art lovers, artisans at ease and anglers. For those who like a little more action, either a spectator or player in their off-duty hours, there is the game with the small ball which has to be hit, and the game with the bigger bouncing type of ball which has to be kicked. Barnsley's principal sporting interest, at any rate during the winter months, is the 3rd Division Association Football Club, whose home is Oakwell. Formed in 1887 under the name of Barnsley St. Peter's, the club has had its ups and downs over the ensuing years, up into the 2nd Division, but also down into the 3rd. But one day in 1912, the club was really on the upgrade, for it carried off the premier trophy in English football, the FA Cup. So this is the kaleidoscope which goes to make up this town of Barnsley, mentioned in the Doomsday Book on 1086, called Black Barnsley by author Daniel Defoe. Made a county borough in 1913, the town now looks forward with confidence to the future. Black Barnsley, bustling Barnsley, boomtown Barnsley. Call us what you will, but whatever you care to name us, we who work and live here are happily content to call it home.